If everything in your life feels stuck right now, if doors keep closing, if nothing is going the way you planned, this is not a mistake. This is not failure. This is a shift. Because sometimes, before your life moves forward, everything has to pause, not to stop you, but to realign you. You see, you had a plan, a timeline, an expectation, a vision of how things should happen. But what you didn't see was the bigger picture, the things that were not right for you, the paths that would have led you to the wrong place, the opportunities that looked good, but were never meant to last. So things didn't work out. Plans failed. Timing fell off. Everything slowed down. And now, you're questioning everything. Why is this happening? Why is nothing working? Why do I feel stuck? But what if you're not stuck? What if you're being redirected? Because not every closed door is a rejection. Some are protection. Protection from wrong timing. Protection from wrong decisions. Protection from things that would have taken you away from the life you're meant to live. And right now, you are in that space. The space between what was and what is coming next. And yes, it feels uncomfortable because you don't have answers. You don't have certainty. You don't have control. But this space is where transformation happens. Not when everything is clear, but when everything is uncertain. Because uncertainty forces you to grow, to think differently, to move differently, to become stronger. And that's what's happening to you right now. You are being stretched, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, to prepare you for something greater. Because what is coming is not small. It requires more from you. More patience, more discipline, more belief. And that's why this phase exists. To build you, to shape you, to remove everything that no longer aligns with your next level. So yes, things are not working the way you expected, but that doesn't mean they are not working. They are working, just not in the way you understand yet. Because while you are waiting, things are being arranged. Opportunities are being prepared. People are being aligned. Paths are being cleared. And when the time is right, everything will begin to move. But until then, you have a choice. You can lose faith, or you can grow in this moment. You can complain, or you can prepare. You can stay stuck mentally, or you can evolve. Because this phase is not here to hold you back. It's here to push you forward, even if it doesn't feel like it. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this preparing me for? Because that question changes your perspective. It turns confusion into purpose. It turns waiting into growth. It turns frustration into understanding. And once your perspective changes, everything begins to shift. Not immediately, but gradually. You become calmer, more focused, more aware of your path. And in that awareness, you begin to notice signs. Small changes, small opportunities, small moments of clarity. And those small moments lead to bigger ones. Until one day, everything starts making sense. The delays, the struggles, the silence. It all connects, and you realize nothing was against you. Everything was for you, preparing you, guiding you, leading you to where you are meant to be. So don't rush this phase. Don't try to escape it. Don't lose faith in it. Because this is where your foundation is being built. A strong one, a real one that will not collapse. When life tests you again, and it will test you again. But next time, you will be different, stronger, wiser, more grounded. Because you went through this. You didn't quit. You didn't walk away. You stayed. And that is what will set you apart. So hold on. Even when it feels slow, even when it feels uncertain, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Because something is changing. You. You are changing. And once you change, everything around you begins to follow. So trust this moment. Trust this phase. Trust this process. Because the life you are waiting for is not being delayed. It is being prepared. And when it arrives, you will understand why it took this long. You will understand why things didn't work before. You will understand why you had to go through this. And in that moment, you won't feel frustration anymore. You will feel gratitude. Gratitude for the delays. Gratitude for the lessons. Gratitude for the growth. Because without them, you would not be ready. And now, you are becoming ready. Step by step. Day by day. Without even realizing it. So don't stop now. Not here. Not in the middle of your transformation. Because what's ahead of you is worth everything you're going through right now. And all you have to do is keep going. And just when you start to feel tired, just when you feel like you've done everything you can, that is usually the moment, right before things begin to change. But most people don't reach that moment because they stop too soon. They walk away when things get uncomfortable. They give up when results are not immediate. They lose faith when nothing around them shows progress. But what they don't realize is this. Progress is not always visible. Sometimes, the biggest changes are happening where you cannot see them. Beneath the surface, in the background, in ways that are not obvious yet. And if you quit in that moment, you walk away from everything that was about to come together. So don't let your emotions trick you. Just because you feel stuck does not mean you are not moving. Just because you feel tired does not mean you should stop. Sometimes it means you are closer than ever. Closer to clarity. Closer to opportunity. Closer to the life you've been working toward. And this is where strength matters the most. Not physical strength, but mental strength. The ability to continue, even when you don't feel like it. The ability to stay focused, even when distractions surround you. The ability to believe, even when doubt enters your mind. Because belief is what carries you through uncertainty. It gives you direction when things feel unclear. It gives you energy when you feel drained. It gives you purpose when you feel lost. And right now, you need that belief more than ever. Not in everything working out perfectly, but in yourself, in your ability to grow, in your ability to adapt, in your ability to keep moving forward, no matter what happens, because you've already proven something important. You didn't quit. You're still here. After everything you've faced, after every setback, after every moment you thought about stopping, you kept going. And that says something about you. That shows strength. Real strength. The kind that cannot be taught. The kind that is built through experience. And that strength is what will carry you to your next level. Because success is not just about opportunity. It's about readiness. And right now, you are becoming ready. Ready to handle more. Ready to take on bigger challenges. Ready to step into something greater. But before that happens, there is always one more test. A final stretch. A moment where everything feels uncertain again. Where you are pushed to your limits. Where your patience is tested again. Where your faith is challenged again. Not to break you, but to confirm you. To confirm that you are ready. To confirm that you have grown. To confirm that you will not go back to who you used to be. So if things feel intense right now, if emotions feel stronger, if situations feel heavier, don't panic. This is part of it. This is the final shaping. the final preparation before your breakthrough. So stay focused, stay grounded, stay committed to your path, because you didn't come this far just to stop here. You came this far to rise, to grow, to become more than you were before. And now, you are closer than you think, closer to your shift, closer to your opportunity, closer to the moment everything begins to align. So don't let this moment break you. Let it build you. Let it strengthen you. Let it remind you of who you are becoming. Because the version of you that is emerging right now is not the same person who started this journey. You are stronger. You are wiser. You are more aware. And that version of you is ready for what's next. So take one more step, then another, and keep going. Because the breakthrough you've been waiting for is not far away anymore. It's right in front of you. And all you have to do is not stop now. And then one day, without any big announcement, without any dramatic moment, you will notice something different. Not around you, but within you. The same situations that once made you anxious will no longer disturb your peace. The same problems that once felt heavy will feel lighter, not because they disappeared, but because you changed. Your mindset became stronger. Your emotions became more controlled. Your perspective became clearer. And in that moment, you will realize you are no longer the same person. The version of you that once doubted everything, that overthought every decision, that felt lost in uncertainty, is no longer in control. A new version of you has taken over. A calmer version, a stronger version, a more grounded version. And that shift, that internal transformation, is more powerful than any external success. Because now, you are not easily shaken. You don't break under pressure. You don't lose yourself in chaos. You don't depend on everything being perfect to feel okay. You have built stability within yourself. And that stability changes how you experience life. You begin to move with intention. You make decisions with clarity. You choose your path with confidence. Not because everything is certain, but because you trust yourself. And that trust is something you earned through struggles, through patience, through moments where you had to keep going, even when it was hard. And now, that effort is showing, not in loud results, but in quiet strength, in the way you carry yourself, in the way you respond to challenges, in the way you continue moving forward, without needing constant reassurance. And that quiet strength is what sets you apart. Because most people wait for external change. They wait for the right moment, the right opportunity, the right conditions. But you became the change. You worked on yourself. You built your mindset. You developed your discipline. And because of that, your life is now beginning to reflect it. Slowly, but surely, things are starting to align. Opportunities are starting to appear. Paths are starting to open. Not by luck, but by growth. Because you are now ready for what you once were not. And that readiness is everything. It allows you to step forward without fear controlling you. It allows you to take action without overthinking every step. It allows you to embrace change instead of resisting it. And that is when life truly begins to move. Not because everything becomes easy, but because you become capable of handling challenges, capable of adapting to change, capable of continuing forward, no matter what comes your way. And as you continue on this path, you will begin to notice something else, a sense of peace, not the kind that comes from everything being perfect, but the kind that comes from knowing You will be okay no matter what happens. And that peace is priceless because it frees you from constant worry, from constant doubt, from the need to control everything. You begin to trust life more, not blindly, but with understanding. You understand that not everything will go your way, but everything will teach you something. You understand that not every plan will succeed, but every effort will build you. You understand that not every moment will be easy, but every moment will shape you. And with that understanding, you move forward differently, with less fear, with more clarity, with deeper confidence. And that confidence comes from experience, from everything you've been through. So don't forget that. Don't forget how far you've come. Don't forget what you've overcome. Don't forget the strength you've built, because those things are proof. Proof that you are capable. Proof that you are growing. Proof that you are ready. Ready for the next level of your life. And that next level is not something far away anymore. It is approaching, step by step, moment by moment, through your consistency, through your effort, through your belief. So keep going, keep building, keep trusting, because the life you are stepping into is not something you have to chase anymore. It is something you are becoming aligned with. And once you are aligned, everything begins to flow, naturally, gradually, powerfully. And when it does, you will understand. This journey was never meant to be easy. It was meant to make you stronger. And it did. And somewhere along this journey, without even realizing when it happened, you stopped chasing. Not because you lost ambition, not because you gave up on your dreams, but because something within you changed. You no longer feel the need to run after everything, to force outcomes, to prove your worth, to constantly seek validation, because now you understand something deeper. What is meant for you will not require you to lose yourself to get it. So you slow down, not in effort, but in desperation. You still work, you still grow, you still move forward, but with calm, with clarity, with a sense of trust that wasn't there before. And that trust changes everything, because now you are no longer acting from fear. You are acting from alignment. You choose opportunities that feel right, not just look right. You choose people who respect your growth, not just your presence. You choose paths that bring peace, not just temporary excitement. And those choices, they create a different life, a more grounded life, a more intentional life, a life that reflects who you truly are. And in that life, you find something rare, authenticity. You are no longer pretending, no longer trying to fit into places that don't align with you. You are simply being yourself, fully. And that authenticity, it attracts the right things, the right people, the right opportunities, the right direction, not by force, but by alignment. And that's when you realize you don't have to chase everything. You just have to become the version of yourself that naturally attracts what is right. And that becoming is your real work, not just achieving goals, but evolving as a person, becoming more aware, more disciplined, more intentional in your thoughts, in your actions, in your daily life. Because the life you want is built through who you are every day, not just in big moments, but in small ones. The choices no one sees, the habits no one notices, the discipline you maintain, even when it's difficult. And those small moments, they build your identity. They shape who you are becoming. Until one day, you look at yourself and you recognize someone stronger, someone calmer, someone more focused, someone who no longer gets distracted by things that don't matter. And that version of you is powerful, not because of what they have, but because of who they are, because they have control over their thoughts, their emotions, their actions, and that control creates freedom, freedom from overthinking, freedom from constant doubt, freedom from being controlled by every situation around you, because now you are grounded, and that grounding allows you to move through life with stability, even when things are uncertain, even when challenges appear, even when life tests you again, and it will test you again. But this time, you will respond differently. You will not panic. You will not lose yourself. You will not go back to old patterns. Because you've grown, you've evolved, you've built something within yourself that cannot be easily shaken, and that is your true strength. So as you continue forward, remember this: you are not just building a life, you are building yourself. And that is the most important work you will ever do, because everything else comes from that. Your success, your peace, your direction, it all comes from who you are. So keep becoming, keep growing, keep choosing alignment over pressure, because the more you become yourself, the more your life will reflect it, and that reflection will be real, not forced, not temporary, but lasting. And one day, you will look around and realize you are no longer chasing the life you wanted. You are living it. And as you keep walking this path, there will come a point where you stop asking life to be easier, and you start asking yourself to be stronger, not in a harsh way, not in a way that ignores your struggles, but in a way that empowers you. Because you begin to understand, life is not here to adjust to you. You are here to grow through it, to adapt, to evolve, to become someone who can handle more. And once you accept that, everything changes again. You stop expecting perfect conditions. You stop waiting for the right moment. You stop hoping that everything will align first before you take action. Instead, you become the kind of person who moves forward anyway, even when things are unclear, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when you don't have all the answers, because now you trust your ability to figure things out, step by step, and that trust is what builds real confidence, not the kind that depends on success, but the kind that exists even in uncertainty. The kind that says, I don't know exactly how this will work, but I know I will handle it. And that mindset is powerful because it removes hesitation. It removes fear of the unknown. It removes the need to control every outcome. And it replaces it with action, consistent, intentional action. And as you take that action, you begin to notice something. You are no longer afraid of failing, because you understand. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. It is feedback. It is direction. It is a lesson that moves you forward. And once you stop fearing failure, you start growing faster. You try more. You learn more. You improve more. And that growth creates momentum. Momentum that pushes you forward, even when motivation is low, because now you are not relying on how you feel. You are relying on who you've become, a person who shows up, a person who continues, a person who does not stop just because things get difficult. And that consistency is what separates you, not talent, not luck, but discipline. The ability to keep going, even when it's not exciting, even when results are not immediate, even when no one is watching. And over time, that discipline builds something incredible. trust within yourself. Because every time you show up, every time you follow through, every time you keep going, you prove to yourself, I can do this. And that proof becomes your foundation, a foundation that cannot be shaken easily, because it is built on experience, not just belief, but evidence. Evidence that you are capable, that you are consistent, that you are committed. And from that foundation, you build your life, not randomly, but intentionally. You choose your direction. You choose your priorities. You choose how you spend your time and energy. Because now, you understand their value. You understand that your time is limited. Your energy is valuable. Your focus is powerful. And where you place them shapes your life. So you become more selective. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop giving energy to things that drain you. You stop focusing on things that don't move you forward. Instead, you invest in growth, in learning, in building, in becoming better every day, even in small ways, because you've realized small progress is still progress, and consistent progress leads to big results. So you keep going, not perfectly, but consistently, and that consistency transforms everything. Your mindset becomes sharper. Your focus becomes stronger. Your direction becomes clearer. And slowly, your life begins to reflect that. Opportunities appear. Doors begin to open. Things start aligning. Not because of luck, but because of preparation. Because you became ready. Ready for what you once wanted. And that readiness is what allows you to step into your next level, without fear holding you back, without doubt stopping you, because now you know who you are, and that knowing is powerful. It allows you to stand firm, even when things are uncertain. It allows you to move forward, even when the path is not fully clear. It allows you to trust yourself, even when no one else understands your journey. And that trust is what carries you through every phase, through every challenge, through every level of growth. So as you continue forward, don't forget this. You are not just moving through life. You are shaping it with every decision, with every action, with every moment you choose growth over comfort. And that shaping is creating something meaningful, something real, a life that reflects your effort, your discipline, your commitment. And one day, when you look back again, you won't just see success. You will see the work behind it, the moments you kept going, the times you didn't quit, the effort you put in when no one was watching. And that will be your greatest pride, because you didn't just reach a point. You built yourself into someone who could stand there. And that person is who you are becoming right now. And after everything you've been through, after all the lessons, all the waiting, all the growth, there comes a moment where you stop looking outside for answers, and you finally look within, not out of confusion anymore, but out of understanding, because you begin to realize everything you were searching for, strength, clarity, peace, direction, was never meant to be found outside of you. It was meant to be built within you, through your experiences, through your struggles, through every moment that challenged you, to become more than you were before. And now, you are starting to see it. You are starting to feel it. A quiet strength, a calm confidence, a deep sense of knowing that you are enough. Not because everything is perfect, not because life is easy, but because you've grown into someone who can handle it, someone who doesn't break easily, someone who doesn't lose direction easily, someone who doesn't depend on everything going right to feel okay. And that realization changes everything, because now you are no longer searching for yourself. You have found yourself, not in one moment, but through many moments. Moments of struggle, moments of doubt, moments where you had to keep going, even when you didn't feel like it. And those moments, they shaped you. They built you. They created the person you are today. And that person is stronger than you think, more capable than you realize, more prepared than you feel, because you've already faced so much, and you made it through. So now, you carry that proof within you, proof that you can handle challenges, proof that you can adapt to change, proof that you can keep moving forward, even when things are uncertain. And that proof becomes your power, not loud, not visible to everyone, but real. The kind of power that doesn't need validation. The kind of strength that doesn't need to be shown, because it exists within you. And as you continue to live from that place, you begin to experience life differently. You stop reacting to everything. You stop being controlled by every situation. You stop letting temporary moments define your entire mindset. Instead, you remain steady, grounded, aware, because you understand. Life will always have ups and downs. There will always be challenges. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be moments that test your patience and strength. But now, you are not afraid of that, because you trust yourself. You trust your ability to handle it. And that trust gives you peace, a deep, lasting peace. Not the kind that depends on everything going right, but the kind that stays, even when things go wrong. And that peace is something you earned through growth, through awareness, through choosing to keep going when it would have been easier to stop. So don't forget that. Don't forget the journey. Don't forget the person you used to be, because that person was necessary. They went through things so you could grow. They faced struggles so you could become stronger. They felt lost so you could find clarity. And now, you are here, not at the end, but at a new beginning. A beginning where you move differently, with intention, with awareness, with purpose. Because now, you are not just reacting to life. You are creating it through your choices, through your mindset, through your actions every single day. And that creation is something powerful because it is intentional. It is aligned. It is built on who you truly are, not who you were trying to be before. And that alignment brings fulfillment, real fulfillment, not temporary excitement, not short-term satisfaction, but a deep sense of meaning, where you feel connected to your life, where you feel like you are on the right path, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not fully clear, because you know you are moving in the right direction, and that knowing is enough. So as you continue forward, let go of the need to rush. Let go of the need to have everything figured out. Let go of the pressure to constantly prove something, because you don't need to. You've already proven enough to yourself through your growth, through your consistency, through your willingness to keep going. And that is what matters. So now, move with calm, move with confidence, move with the understanding that you are exactly where you need to be, not behind, not late, not lost, just on your path, becoming who you are meant to become. And one day, you will look back again, and you will see it clearly. Every step, every struggle, every moment of growth, it all led you here, to this version of you. And that version will be proud, not just of what you achieved, but of who you became along the way. And that will be your greatest success. And after everything settles, after all the noise fades, after all the questions slowly lose their urgency, you begin to notice something you didn't expect. Peace. Not loud, not overwhelming, but quiet. A steady, grounded feeling within you that doesn't depend on everything being perfect. And at first, it almost feels unfamiliar because you spent so much time trying to fix everything, trying to understand everything, trying to control everything, that you forgot what it feels like to simply be at peace. But now, you are learning. You are learning that peace is not something you find at the end of your journey. It is something you carry with you as you walk through it. And that realization changes how you see everything. You no longer chase happiness in external things. You no longer believe that once everything is perfect, then you will feel okay, because you understand now. Peace is not a destination. It is a way of being. It is the way you think, the way you respond, the way you choose to see your life. And once you begin to live from that place, everything becomes lighter, not because problems disappear, but because you are no longer weighed down by them. You see challenges differently, not as obstacles meant to stop you, but as experiences meant to shape you. You no longer resist them the same way. You face them with calm, with awareness, with trust in your ability to move through them. And that trust, it grows stronger with time, because every challenge you overcome reminds you of something important. You are capable, more capable than you once believed, more resilient than you once felt, more prepared than you once thought. And that awareness becomes your strength, a quiet strength, the kind that doesn't need to be shown, but is always there, guiding you, grounding you, keeping you steady, no matter what happens around you. And as this strength deepens, you begin to let go, not out of giving up, but out of understanding. You let go of things you cannot control. You let go of expectations that don't serve you. You let go of the need for everything to go your way, because you realize holding on too tightly creates suffering, but learning to release creates freedom. And in that freedom, you find space, space to think clearly, space to breathe, space to truly experience your life. And in that space, you begin to see what truly matters. Not the noise, not the pressure, not the endless distractions, but the simple, meaningful parts of life. Moments of stillness, moments of clarity, moments where you feel connected to yourself, to your journey, to the present moment. And those moments, they become valuable because you understand now. Life is not just about achieving something. It's about experiencing everything, fully, consciously, with awareness. And that awareness transforms your entire experience. You begin to live slower, but deeper. You begin to focus less on quantity and more on quality. Quality of your thoughts, quality of your actions, quality of your experiences. Because you realize your life is not defined by how much you do, but by how deeply you live. And that depth is something you are creating now, through your presence, through your awareness, through your willingness to truly be here. Not lost in the past, not anxious about the future, but grounded in this moment. And in this moment, you find something powerful, enoughness. A feeling that what you have right now, who you are right now, is enough. Not because you've reached every goal, but because you've reached a level of understanding. An understanding that growth is ongoing, that life is always unfolding, that you are always becoming. And that becoming is not something to rush. It is something to experience, step by step, moment by moment, without pressure, without comparison, without the constant need to be somewhere else. Because where you are has value. Right now, in this phase, in this moment, there is something here for you. A lesson, a realization, a piece of growth. And when you embrace that, you stop feeling behind. You stop feeling lost. You stop feeling like you need to catch up. Because you understand, there is no race. There is no fixed timeline. There is only your journey, your path, your process. And that process is unfolding exactly as it should. Not perfectly, but meaningfully. So trust it. Trust your growth. Trust your pace. Trust the way your life is unfolding. Because even when it feels uncertain, even when it feels slow, even when it feels unclear, something is happening. You are evolving. Quietly, steadily, powerfully, into someone who can carry peace, no matter where life takes you. And that is the true destination. Not success, not perfection, but peace. A peace that stays with you through every phase, through every change, through every moment of your life. And once you find that, you realize you were never truly lost. You were just becoming. And then there comes a moment, not loud, not dramatic, but quiet, where you realize you are no longer running, not running from your past, not running towards some distant future, not running to prove something to anyone. You are simply here, present, and for the first time, that feels enough. Because for so long, your life felt like a constant chase, chasing answers, chasing clarity, chasing a version of life that always seemed just out of reach. But now, something has shifted. You no longer feel that urgency, not because you've achieved everything, but because you've understood something deeper. That life was never meant to be chased. It was meant to be lived. And living is different from chasing. Chasing is restless. Chasing is pressured. Chasing always feels like you're behind. But living is present. It is grounded. It is aware. It allows you to experience what is in front of you, instead of constantly reaching for what is not yet here. And that shift, it brings a sense of calm, a calm that doesn't come from control, but from acceptance. Acceptance of where you are, acceptance of your journey, acceptance of the fact that not everything needs to be figured out right now. And in that acceptance, you find space, space to breathe, space to think, space to truly understand your life. And in that understanding, you begin to see things clearly. You see that not everything deserved your energy. Not everything deserved your attention. Not everything deserved your time. And now, you choose differently. You choose peace over pressure. You choose growth over comfort. You choose alignment over approval. Because you understand, your energy is limited, and where you invest it shapes your life. So you stop giving it away carelessly. You become intentional in your thoughts, in your actions, in your daily choices. And that intention begins to create a life that feels real, not forced, not rushed, not based on expectations, but based on truth, your truth. And living in that truth, it feels different. It feels lighter. It feels clearer. It feels honest. Because you are no longer pretending, no longer trying to be someone you're not. You are simply being yourself, fully. And that authenticity, it changes everything. It changes how you connect with others. It changes how you see yourself. It changes how you experience your life. Because now, You are not divided. You are aligned. Your thoughts, your actions, your values, they are in sync. And that alignment brings a deep sense of peace, not temporary, but lasting, because it's not based on external things. It's based on who you are. And who you are is someone who has grown, someone who has faced challenges and didn't give up, someone who has felt lost and kept going, someone who has questioned everything and still chose to move forward. And that person deserves peace, deserves clarity, deserves to feel at ease within their own life. So allow yourself that. Allow yourself to feel calm, even if everything isn't perfect. Allow yourself to feel proud, even if you're still growing. Allow yourself to be present, even if you don't have all the answers. Because you don't need all the answers. You just need the next step. And you already have that. So take it slowly, calmly, with intention, because there is no rush anymore. There is only your journey. And your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. Not perfectly, but meaningfully. So trust it. Trust the pace. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Because everything you've been through has led you here, to this moment, where you are no longer trying to escape your life. You are learning to live it fully. And that is where everything changes. And as you continue to move forward, there comes a moment where you begin to see your life, not in pieces anymore, but as a whole. You start connecting everything. The struggles you didn't understand, the delays that frustrated you, the moments that felt like setbacks, they begin to make sense. Not perfectly, but clearly enough for you to understand. Nothing was wasted. Every experience, every challenge, every phase you went through, it all had a purpose. It all contributed to who you are now. And when you see that, you stop regretting. You stop wishing things had been different, because you realize, if anything had changed, you would not be who you are today. And who you are today is someone stronger, someone wiser, someone more aware, someone who understands life at a deeper level. And that understanding brings acceptance, not forced acceptance, but real acceptance, the kind that allows you to make peace with your past, the kind that allows you to let go of what you cannot change. And in that letting go, you feel lighter, because you are no longer carrying the weight of what if. You are no longer stuck in things that are already over. You are here, in the present, fully. And when you are fully present, life opens up in a different way. You begin to notice things you once ignored. The small moments, the quiet details, the simple experiences that make life meaningful. Because now, you are not rushing through life. You are experiencing it. And that experience, it becomes richer, deeper, more fulfilling, because you are not distracted. You are aware. And that awareness changes everything. You begin to understand people better. You begin to understand yourself better. You begin to respond with more patience, more empathy, more clarity, because you are no longer reacting from old patterns. You are responding from understanding. And that shift, it transforms your relationships. You no longer hold on to things that don't align. You no longer try to fix everything. You accept what is. You appreciate what feels right. And you release what doesn't. Without anger, without resistance, just with understanding. And that understanding creates peace. A peace that allows you to move through life without unnecessary conflict, without carrying emotions that don't serve you, without being pulled in every direction. Because now, You are centered, grounded within yourself. And from that place, you begin to live more intentionally. You choose your path with clarity. You make decisions with purpose. You invest your time and energy into what truly matters. Because you understand now, time is limited, and how you spend it shapes your life. So you become more mindful, not in a restrictive way, but in a meaningful way. You focus on what adds value, what creates growth, what brings peace. And slowly, your life reflects that. It becomes simpler, more focused, more aligned. And in that simplicity, you find something powerful. Freedom. Freedom from unnecessary stress. Freedom from constant pressure. Freedom from trying to be everywhere. Do everything. Be everything. Because you realize you don't need all of that. You just need what truly matters. And once you understand that, life becomes clearer. Not easier, but clearer. And that clarity gives you direction, a sense of knowing where you want to go and how you want to live, not based on what others expect, but based on what feels right to you. And that alignment creates fulfillment, a deep, lasting fulfillment, not dependent on achievements, not dependent on validation, but rooted in your way of living. And that is where life becomes meaningful, not when everything is perfect, but when everything is understood. When you understand your journey, your growth, your purpose, and you live in alignment with it. So as you continue forward, remember this: you are not just living a life. You are shaping a story that is built through your choices, your actions, your growth. And that story is unique. No one else has lived it. No one else will live it the same way. So honor it. Honor your journey. Honor your growth. Honor the person you have become, because it took strength to get here, and it will take strength to keep going. But now, you have that strength, not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. And that strength will carry you forward through every phase, through every challenge, through every new beginning. Because your journey is not over. It is evolving, expanding, continuing into something even greater. And as it does, you will continue to grow, to learn, to become, until one day you look back again and see a life not just lived, but truly understood. And as you continue moving forward, through every phase, through every shift, you begin to notice something that most people overlook. Everything around you changes. Situations change. People change. Opportunities come and go. Even your goals begin to evolve. Things that once felt important lose their meaning. Things you never considered before start to matter more. And in the middle of all this change, there is only one thing that truly remains constant. You. Not the version of you that never changes, but the awareness within you, the part of you that observes, that learns, that grows through every experience. And the more you connect with that part of yourself, the more stable your life becomes. Because now, you are not depending on external things to feel grounded. You are grounded within, and that grounding is what allows you to move through change without losing yourself. Because change is inevitable. It will happen again and again. New chapters will begin. Old chapters will close. People will enter your life, and some will leave. Paths will open, and some will end. But through all of it, you remain, growing, evolving, becoming more aware with each experience. And that awareness is your anchor. It keeps you steady. When everything else feels uncertain, it reminds you that no matter what happens, you will adapt, you will learn, you will continue forward. And that realization removes fear, not completely, but enough. Enough for you to embrace change instead of resisting it, because now you understand something deeper. Change is not here to take things away from you. It is here to move you forward, to guide you into new experiences, to help you outgrow old versions of yourself, to lead you towards something more aligned. And once you accept that, you stop holding on too tightly. You allow things to flow. You allow life to evolve. And in that flow, you find freedom. Freedom from trying to control everything. Freedom from fearing what might happen. Freedom from needing certainty in every step. Because you trust yourself. You trust your ability to handle whatever comes next. And that trust, it changes how you walk through life. You move with calm, not rushed, not pressured, but steady, intentional. You make decisions with clarity. You act with purpose. You choose what aligns with your growth. And slowly, your life begins to reflect that. It becomes more focused, more meaningful, more aligned with who you truly are. And that alignment brings something powerful, fulfillment, not the kind that fades, but the kind that stays. Because it's not based on temporary things. It's based on how you live, how you think, how you grow, how you show up every single day. And when you live that way, you don't need constant validation. You don't need everything to go perfectly. You don't need to compare your journey with anyone else's, because you know you are on your path, your timeline, your process, your journey, and that journey is enough. So as you continue forward, don't fear change. Don't resist it. Don't try to control every outcome. Instead, trust it. Trust that every shift is leading you somewhere meaningful. Trust that every ending is making space for a new beginning. Trust that every experience is shaping you into someone stronger. Because that's exactly what's happening right now. Even if you can't fully see it yet, even if it doesn't make complete sense yet, something is unfolding, something is building, something is aligning, and you are part of it. You are growing with it. You are becoming through it. So keep going. Keep trusting. Keep allowing life to unfold. Because what remains in the end is not what you had. It's who you became. And who you are becoming is someone strong enough to handle change, wise enough to understand it, and grounded enough to move through it with peace. And as you continue forward, through all the changes, through all the growth, there will come a point where doubt no longer controls you. It may still appear sometimes, quietly, in the background, but it no longer has power over your decisions, because something within you has become stronger than doubt. Your understanding. You understand now that uncertainty is part of the journey. You understand that not everything will make sense immediately. You understand that clarity often comes after movement, not before it. And because of that, you stop waiting for perfect certainty. You stop needing every answer before you begin. You move forward anyway, not blindly, but with trust. Trust in your growth. Trust in your awareness. Trust in your ability to adjust along the way. And that trust, it transforms how you live. You become decisive, not rushed, not impulsive, but clear. You know when something feels right. You know when something no longer aligns. You know when it's time to move and when it's time to pause. Because you've learned to listen, not to noise, but to yourself. And that inner connection, is something you built over time, through silence, through reflection, through moments where you had no choice but to face yourself honestly. And in facing yourself, you discovered something important. You are stronger than your fears, stronger than your doubts, stronger than the version of yourself that once held you back. And once you realize that, fear loses its control. It doesn't disappear completely, but it no longer stops you. You feel it and still move forward. You acknowledge it, but you don't let it decide your direction, because now you are in control, not of everything around you, but of how you respond. And that control is what creates stability, even in uncertainty, even in change, even in moments where nothing feels fully clear. You remain steady because you trust your process. You trust your growth. You trust the path you are on. And that trust brings peace. A peace that doesn't depend on outcomes. A peace that doesn't disappear when things don't go as planned. A peace that stays because it comes from within. And from that place, you begin to live differently. You no longer rush through your days. You move with awareness. You notice what matters. You appreciate small moments. You stay present in your life because you understand. Life is not just about reaching something. It's about experiencing everything along the way. And now, you are experiencing it fully, not distracted by constant worry, not consumed by overthinking, but grounded, present, aware. And in that awareness, you find meaning, not in big achievements alone, but in how you live each day, in the effort you give, in the growth you commit to, in the way you show up for yourself and others. And that meaning creates fulfillment, a deep, lasting fulfillment, not dependent on external success, but rooted in your way of living. And that is where life becomes powerful, not when everything is perfect, but when everything is aligned, aligned with your values, aligned with your truth, aligned with who you are becoming. And that alignment is what guides you now, not pressure, not fear, not comparison, just clarity. And as long as you follow that clarity, you will continue to grow, to evolve, to step into new levels of yourself. Because growth doesn't stop. It deepens. It expands. It continues. As long as you do. So don't settle. Not for comfort. Not for ease. Not for staying the same. Keep moving forward. Keep challenging yourself. Keep becoming more. Because there is always another level. Another version of you waiting to emerge. A version that is stronger, more aware, more capable. And each step you take brings you closer to that version. So trust the process, even when it feels slow, even when it feels uncertain, because everything you are doing right now is building something, something real, something lasting, a life that reflects your growth, a life that reflects your effort, a life that reflects who you truly are. And one day, you will look around and realize you are no longer questioning your path. You are walking it with confidence, with clarity, with peace. And that is when you know you've truly grown. And as you continue forward, something even more profound begins to happen. You stop fearing what comes next, not because you suddenly know the future, not because everything becomes predictable, but because you've changed your relationship with the unknown. Before, the unknown felt threatening. It felt like something to avoid, something to control, something that could take everything away from you. But now, you see it differently. You see the unknown as possibility, as space, as the place where new things are created. Because every new chapter, every opportunity, every meaningful change in your life once came from the unknown. And if you fear it, you limit yourself. But if you embrace it, you expand. And now, you are learning to embrace it. Not perfectly, but courageously. You take steps without full certainty. You make decisions without having every answer. You move forward even when the path is not completely clear. And that courage, it builds something powerful within you. Confidence, not based on outcomes, but based on experience. Because every time you step into the unknown and you handle it, you prove something to yourself. I can do this. And that proof, it changes everything. It removes hesitation. It reduces fear. It strengthens your belief in yourself. Until one day, you realize you don't need to know everything in advance. You just need to trust that you will figure it out. And that trust, it becomes your foundation. A foundation that allows you to move freely, without being trapped by overthinking, without being held back by fear. Because now, you are not waiting for certainty. You are creating your path as you walk it, step by step, with awareness, with intention, with trust. And that way of living, it brings a new kind of freedom. A freedom that doesn't depend on perfect conditions. A freedom that exists even in uncertainty. Because it comes from within you, from your mindset, from your growth, from your understanding of life. And as you continue living this way, you begin to feel something even deeper. A sense of purpose, not a loud, dramatic purpose, but a quiet, steady one. The kind that shows up in how you live each day, in the way you grow, in the way you help others, in the way you continue becoming better. Because purpose is not always one big thing. Sometimes it is simply the commitment to keep evolving, to keep learning, to keep improving. And that commitment gives your life direction, even when everything is not fully clear. Because you know, as long as you keep growing, you are moving in the right direction. And that understanding, it removes pressure. The pressure to have everything figured out. The pressure to reach a certain point quickly. The pressure to compare your journey with others. Because you realize, your journey is your own. Your pace is your own. Your path is your own. And there is no need to rush it. So you slow down. Not in progress, but in pressure. You allow things to unfold. You allow yourself to grow naturally. You allow life to take shape, without forcing every detail. And in that allowance, you find peace. A peace that stays with you, through changes, through challenges, through every phase of your life. Because it is not dependent on circumstances. It is built within you, and that inner peace becomes your greatest strength. It keeps you steady when things are uncertain. It keeps you calm when things are intense. It keeps you focused when distractions appear. And from that place, you live differently. You no longer react impulsively. You no longer get lost in every emotion. You no longer let temporary situations control your mindset. Instead, you respond with awareness, with patience, with clarity, because you understand. Everything passes. Every challenge, every moment of confusion, every phase of uncertainty, it all moves. It all changes. And knowing that helps you stay grounded, because you don't get attached to temporary moments. You don't define your life based on one situation. You see the bigger picture. You understand that life is always moving, always evolving, always creating new opportunities, even when you can't see them yet. And that understanding, gives you strength. The strength to keep going. The strength to stay patient. The strength to trust the process, even when it's difficult. So as you continue forward, remember this. You are not alone in this journey, not in the sense of others around you, but in the sense that life itself is guiding you. Through every experience, through every challenge, through every moment of growth, you are being shaped, prepared, guided toward something meaningful, even if you don't fully understand it yet. So trust that. Trust your path. Trust your growth. Trust the way your life is unfolding. Because everything you are going through is leading you somewhere. Not randomly, but intentionally. And one day, you will look back and see it clearly. How every step connected. How every moment mattered. How every challenge shaped you. And in that moment, you will feel something powerful. Peace. Not because life was perfect, but because it made sense. And because you stayed. You didn't give up. You didn't walk away. You kept moving forward. And that made all the difference.